Hello everybody, I'm just trying... Hello everybody, welcome to another React video. This is one of our Wednesday watches. This is called Coming Out. It's about the wee bit of history about gay life in Glasgow. Yeah, so subscribe, hit the wee dingy bell thing, and let's see if this... I'm trying the camera software to record this instead of the usual one, so that's why I'm a wee bit wider. Excuse the pun. Anyway, let's go on with this.
I was invited to this party. It was the hostess herself who invited me. Phyllis said to me, "You've got to be there. The creme de la creme are going to be there." So I thought, well, why not? I might go along and see what this is like.
Do you come here often?
Extreme mincing was going on. Effeminate behaviour, girly names flying back and forth all the time. Get her Mary. Oh, my dear, and all that kind of...
Scotland just didn't do gay.
The Bible clearly states that homosexuality is a sin.
Homosexuality wasn't for Scots. It was dangerous, taboo, stigmatised, and was actually against the law right up until the 1980s.
The one thing that the Catholics and the Protestants could agree on was that they hated the gays.
The story of how Scotland transformed from a grey, straight country to a rainbow of sexual diversity is a tale of old fears, brave queers, that ends in tears.
I think they're a disgrace.
Fabulous history of gay Scotland.
Post-war Scotland of the 1950s
It
was
looks joyful.
very gay. Most people went to the kirk on a Sunday. More than half the population voted for the Conservatives, and the word gay described a jolly jig for the Gordons.
People were encouraged not to talk about sex.
We had one
Still
hour
are.
of sex education the whole time I was at school.
Yeah, me too.
And we weren't allowed to ask any questions.
I don't think I can ever remember homosexuality at all being discussed anywhere within my family
Sandy
or
McLean.
friends. You just never heard it discussed.
Male homosexuality was illegal, was hidden under a repressive silence, and Jessies were to be scorned.
When I was growing up, the word lesbian was in our vocabulary, but it was a kind of fabled beast, a bit like unicorns.
And on the very rare occasion that homosexual people did make an appearance, they were almost always feminine, flouncy, a bit posh, and very English.
Big pansies.
What are these for? When I get these terrible headaches. I told you shouldn't do that needlepoint. I don't do needlepoint. Not now that I'm doing the lace mats.
You began to see identifiable people like Larry Grayson or like John Inman. Not people that you could relate to, but that was the kind of image, and you thought, that's what a gay man looked like.
I'm just a lonely boy. For most folks, the idea of a Scottish homosexual was a contradiction in terms. But behind the net curtains and far from the factory gates, gay Scots furtively found one another.
You met people in public toilets. That was really the only place.
Yeah.
I don't know how you learned to go there. I think it was more of the fact that you once used a public toilet and saw something
I remember
going
those.
on here. You know,
Sauchiehall
that sort of
Street.
rung bells,
I
so
mean,
you go back.
Buchanan Street.
There were pubs near railway stations were often busy, so there was always somewhere.
It was really eye contact, and perhaps flashing a little bit here and there.
And in Scotland's bigger cities, gay men began to meet at secret soirees.
The party was a great thing in Glasgow gay society because at that time the pub shut at 10 o'clock.
When the chance occurred, on land or at sea, there was a bit of Scotsman on Scotsman action.
The guys would say it was the golden rivet. And I thought this was some sort of talisman put on every boat for good fortune. And because I'd asked a few people where the golden rivet was, they said, "Oh, you'll find it." Up comes the second engineer, and he's sweat running off in the grease. I says, "My God," I says, "You've got the muscles, so haven't you?" And he took my hand and says, I'll show you the golden rivet. And you know, he showed me that golden rivet every day.
The consequences of being caught were significant. You know, being excluded from your family, being sacked. You could just be sacked for even a hint of homosexuality, never mind a prosecution.
There was always the worry that somebody might expose you. Somebody might, we used to call it scream you up.
You have a criminal record.
In 1957, a committee led by Lord Wolfenden examined the laws around prostitution and homosexuality.
What we've done, or what we've recommended, is that adult consenting males in private should not have their behaviour in this matter brought within the criminal law.
The problem for Scotland was that there was a representative on the panel called James Adair. James Adair presented a minority report, and in it he disagreed with almost all the suggestions that the main committee had come up with.
James Adair fulminated that the Wolfenden report would allow perverts to practice sinning for the sake of sinning. And he was determined that Scotland was no place for homosexuals. In 1967, the Wolfenden report's recommendations were implemented in England, decriminalising homosexuality for men over 21. But thanks to James Adair, homosexuality in Scotland remained illegal. Some sought out a psychiatric solution.
I thought that I was going to get cured, and it meant going to do group therapy.
But you can't force someone to think straight.
I mean, there were other guys there, and one was gay, and I could have ended up jumping into bed with him, you know.
But most lesbian and gay Scots resigned themselves to living closeted lives.
Nice shoes.
In 1969, a brave group of gay Scots realised that it was daft to pretend to be straight. They couldn't and shouldn't have to change their sexuality, so they'd just have to change Scotland. And they set up SMG, a long-lost part of Scotland's radical history.
SMG stands for
Scottish Minorities Group,
and its tagline was for the rights and welfare of homosexuals.
We ran a little disco in the cobweb underneath the Roman Catholic Chaplaincy Centre in George Square, and that was very popular.
Underneath?
No alcohol was involved, it was just sort of coffee and cake sometimes.
SMG's funky discos weren't just for gay guys. For almost the very first time ever in Scotland, SMG Ladies' Night meant lesbians had a public space to meet up in.
Wanted to organise events where people could meet each other in sort of a fairly sort of open and respectable sort of way.
By the mid-70s, 700 people would travel from all over Scotland to get to SMG nights.
Property in Broughton Street, number 60, and called it the Gay Information Centre.
Wow.
They set up a switchboard to reach out to lonely gay people in the hills and glens.
Hello, SMG Befriending Service, can I help you?
They opened Scotland's first lesbian and gay bookshop.
We called the bookshop Lavender Menace, attributed literature, which is just as important.
I won one of those.
But perhaps the most courageous act was simply to make gay Scots visible. But in 1976, this was pure TV dynamite.
It's 25 pence, please.
A 30-minute documentary produced by SMG for the BBC to show ordinary Scots that homosexuals were neither exotic nor scary. Glad to be gay, they had to show a lesbian couple that weren't ultra-butch. The documentary seemed to stress that Edinburgh lesbians could lead lives that were just as dull as straight people.
I've been watching this for ages.
Slowly but perceptibly, the Scottish Minorities Group changed attitudes in Scotland.
Do you know any homosexuals yourself? Aye. What do you feel about them?
Just keep away from them. Yeah. They're alright though. As long as it doesn't bother me, I'm not bothered.
I've nothing against them. I think everybody's got the right to do their own thing.
Personally speaking, as far as I'm concerned, they're the same as me.
Old Jock Dabson's word.
Robin Cook lodged an amendment in the Scottish Criminal Justice Act, and finally, after years of campaigning, after years of fear and fright, after years of discrimination, homosexuality was finally decriminalised in Scotland in 1980.
Found their way towards their sexual orientation without any idea what it was. I would have to look up the word lesbian in the dictionary, and I had no idea what it was.
But by the 1970s, a new generation of lesbians set out to challenge the meet a man, get married, have wains narrative.